Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to SeahawkTalk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're coming to you live through Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to us on all those platforms to never miss a show. We've got a great one lined up for you here today. We'll be joined by Max Yates, Sebastian Nordsey, and Craig O'Rourke II. Can't wait to talk to them and our producers. Lots to get to, but first, like always, we remind you to keep your distance. That is Ed Habershaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance by The Shake, a Rhode Island-based band with a message that we can apply worldwide. You've heard all about it. We're going to continue to remind you of all these things. Social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing. We're going to continue to remind everybody here on Seahawk Talk and around the world to do those simple and easy things. Want to bring in the producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco on location here outside, giving us the stats. Mike, we'll start with you. Give us the weather right now. What do you got?
Yeah, so I got a breeze going northeast at about, let's say 10 to 15 miles an hour. It might be a little exaggerated up here on the roof. But, yeah, as you can see, we got hit pretty hard for Newport last night, about 5 inches of snow on the ground. I'll show you guys really quick, at least from my measurement down here. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, we're at about 6, actually 7 inches up on the roof. But I think overall it came out to be about 5 or 6 overall in Newport, so... Yeah, definitely a crazy one. I don't know how you guys got hit, but Joey and Pez.
Joey, I know I've got some footage, but I'll let you discuss first how things went down in Connecticut.
Oh, it's I couldn't give you a measurement. I'd say probably like 6 to 7 inches. Like it was coming down last night. Like I don't know, when did it start for you guys? Because it was like probably 7 here, and like I had to take my dog out and. Apparently she had never been out in the snow before, really. Like, clearly that is not a thing she had done. So I, like, opened the door and we, like, put her out there, and she was like, what do you want me to do with this? And then she, like, looked at me, and then she walked back inside, and she's like, hell no, it's super cold. She's like, I'm not doing that, and just went back inside.
Yeah, I went out around 7 to go fix my windshield wipers. I just got new windshield wipers, so I wanted to make sure those didn't freeze to the windshield and get all screwed up right away. So I had to go do the New England thing, pull out the windshield wipers. Some people had no idea when I've been other places and done it. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't do this? I don't know. I was just told to do this all the time when I was a kid. Yeah, it started around 7. Around 10 is where it really kind of started to pick up. And so I've got 2 videos. So last night I'm putting on my coat. My girlfriend asked me, "Where are you going?" Outside. Right on the water. I mean, it's a Rhode Island thing. You got to go look at the waves. So I've done this enough times here on the program. So this was last night. Oh, actually, you know what? I got to go back because I want to share the audio. So hold on. Remove you. Share audio. There we go. So this was last night around 10. With the snow just whipping. I mean, the wind was insane. I would have stayed out longer if I had brought my snow goggles. But wanted to get the snow just, I mean, you can see where I am, that's my apartment building there. I mean, nothing is stopping the wind coming off the ocean. So,
yeah, it's pretty...
and I'm in the corner, so all that wind gets funneled right into where I live. So it makes the apartment sound like it's on, almost a sort of 17th century ship crossing the Atlantic because it's creaking and hemming and hawing.
Yeah, my room anytime there's wind.
Yep, and then this morning, same deal. Gotta go out. More snow on the ground. Gotta go see what it's like. So this one we won't be able to talk over, but it's about a minute long. So this was the scene down here in the pier.
Pez, I love the hair and the ski hat. It's looking great.
Yeah, I got lots of compliments on the flow out of that. I had another clip where I went out in my good like winter cold warm wear, so to protect myself from getting wet and getting really freezing cold. A wave did hit me while I was standing there at the end, but that clip got lost, I think, because it turned the phone off when I got hit with the wave. So
Ran for the bowl of rice after that.
Yeah, I lost that clip, but got the rest of them. So just wanted to always like to share that. Who doesn't? I mean, it's like something primordial, right? It's something deep. It's like how we love fire. You just sit around a fire. There's something about like bad weather and just going and just staring at the waves. I don't know what it is.
It's fun. I think it's like a primal, like when you were a caveman, that was dangerous, but now you can watch it and be like, ha ha, nature. You can't get me.
Maybe it's because I have a structure to go into. If I was primitive man and was just out in that, maybe I wouldn't be too thrilled.
Exactly.
No, do not let it snow. Do not let it snow.
Please, no, yeah.
Yeah. Any other lead things here from you guys here at the top of the program?
Yeah. So since we're talking about snow, this is trending on Twitter now. So we got 7 to 12 inches roughly. Well, Binghamton, New York, got 40 inches.
Wow.
They were. It is, what was it? 4 to 6 inches an hour. They got. Oh, it just. Oh no! It updated and I lost it. There's a really good one about a cat. There's a cat sitting at the window and he's. Well, here, look at this dog. This is like how my dog reacted, but look at him.
Yeah, there were some videos I saw trending out of like upstate New York as well. People like swimming in the snow. There was like they got at least like 2 feet out there.
There was a good one. It was a cat. Oh, here he is. Like, look at that. That's wild.
Yeah. How the rest of us were looking out our windows in March when we were told just to stay home. Just sitting at the window.
Yeah.
That cat is 2020. That's all of us.
Not looking forward to trying to shovel that if I'm in Binghamton.
Well, like I said yesterday, when sometimes when that happens, people just say, "I'm not even touching it," and you hope that it's going to get warm and melt. But if it doesn't, your car turns into an ice cube.
I would let nature have it. I'd be like, "Okay, nature, you get my patio. That's it."
Mr. Morelli, why haven't you been to work in 7 days? Well, you see, it's been below freezing. Okay, so my car is in an ice bank. So
in a couple thousand years, 2 teenagers are gonna find my car and then like thaw it out and try to teach it about modern society.
Cryogenically frozen out in your car, Joey.
Mike, while we have you here out on location, what's the view like from the top? So we've got you, but what else can we see here from the rooftop?
Yeah, let me see if I can get the Newport Bridge in the background there. If you look a little bit more behind me, I think. Let me see, you guys, to the left there. I wish I could zoom in a little bit more. It's like deep to the to my left. But yeah, you got that. It's on top of Thames, so and then the back here, you can see the harbor. Oh my God, that's
cool.
Yeah, that's strong. Yeah, you can see the harbor back there. So when it was actually nice, a lot of boats would come in. So it'd be pretty cool. You could see it out there.
I feel like with all the rooftops like that, there should be a fiddler somewhere right now. Like once the storm has subsided, it's a little breezy. There needs to be a fiddler up on the roof.
Oh, we'll get one. Yeah. Right now, I'm in fear of losing my laptop. I'm gonna put it back down. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome view up here.
All right. Well, fellas, great stuff as always. Mike, we're gonna let you get inside, get warm, keep the laptop safe, keep the technology safe, and I'll let you guys get to work producing the show behind the scenes, and we're gonna move along now.
Alrighty.
All right. That's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're gonna get to our first guest, an alumnus from our football team, former player and student coach Max Yates. Max, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for stepping in here on short notice. Coach pulling you off the depth chart to come in and join. Yeah. He claims he's got Wi-Fi issues. I think he just wants to I think he just wants to sit and have some hot cocoa. What do you think?
Yeah, no, he's just hanging out right now. Probably watching Peaky Blinders or something, enjoying a nice wintry day. He's just hanging out. He's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, you transferred to Salve initially, correct?
I did. I had a pretty crazy story when it came to Salve. I actually went here as a freshman, and I transferred out and then transferred back in. Just like crazy family circumstances, moving around a lot. So I did transfer into Salve as a junior, but I had previous experience. I was here as a freshman in like 2015, 2016 was my freshman year.
What
Yeah.
drew you to Salve initially, and then what pulled you back in to want to come
Yeah.
back?
I think what pulled me in was I was too small to play. I'm from North Carolina, and down south they don't really have like a lot of D3 schools. So I'm too small. I was way too small to play Division two. So I looked up north at a lot of the D3 schools up here in these conferences, and I had a friend, like a close family friend that I played with in high school. He actually played at Salve. His name was Zach Rodriguez. He was a receiver here. And so he told me, how great the program was and how great Gil was and how good the offense was and what the potential could be. So that's what kind of drew me in. And I'm used to moving. So I was like, hey, Rhode Island, nothing to that. I'll go up there. And then that's why I came up here. And then bringing me back was just, I missed it. I missed the family. I missed, Salve football. It's just such a great program. Everybody, I mean, it's a tight knit family. So I just wanted to be back. And that's what brought me back. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you helped out last season
Yeah.
as a student coach. Talk
Yeah.
about that experience.
It was good. It was super challenging being a position coach with, some of the guys you played with. I mean, I played with guys like Tyler McGovern and McGuire and Jake Keller, and so it was tough transitioning from the role of being, their friend to their coach. So that was a tough experience, but it was great. I loved it. I loved coaching. That's why I still am coaching, and I mean, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I think we got a lot of work to do as the quarterback room, but we're definitely progressing, and yeah, it's good. I love being a coach here.
Your father is a colonel.
Yeah,
Now you talk about
yeah,
being a coach. Part of that too is also being a leader. How
yeah,
much of that sort of those qualities, traits, how
yeah.
much of that has he instilled in you and prepped you for throughout your life?
Well, I think I'm very fortunate because my dad. I'm not trying to toot his horn because he's my dad. I'm a little biased, but he's retired now. He retired after I think it's 27 years of being a fighter pilot, and I was just fortunate enough that he was in positions to lead a lot of men and women overseas and doing the real mission and the real job and the real hard work. And just his experiences has kind of shaped me and really have helped me out become the person I am today. And the leadership stuff, I mean, that's really everything, not only being a coach, being a quarterback, being a person. And I mean, I really owe everything to my dad, how he shaped me when it comes to all that kind of like leadership and accountability and all that stuff. I mean, our regular Sunday chats were like, leadership seminars. So it was cool. I mean, I'm super fortunate for my dad. Yeah.
Now he came in and spoke to the team, I believe, this
Yeah.
season as well. He did the Zoom thing.
Yeah. He
So
did.
what was his message to the team?
I think to the team was just, like what is a team, what makes a team, what makes the really good teams like my dad calls them high functioning teams because my dad did a lot of work in the special operations community in the early 2010s, like 2011, 2012, and worked with some serious, like America's finest. And he did a lot of work with them. And he talked to our team because although it is different, we got guys going to war and we're playing football on a Saturday, but he talked about like what the traits of high performing teams were and just what he saw in observation and even fighter pilots, like what makes the team be the team, and their mission and their accountability and trust in one another is dependent on each other's lives. So I think what me and him have talked about for a while is how can we kind of bring that same atmosphere and team camaraderie, not even camaraderie, but cohesiveness to a football team. Because if a football team trusts and depends on each other like a team of Navy SEALs, like who's going out there to fight for each other, I mean, the football team's going to have a lot of success. So he just spoke to the team about that and what it really means to be a leader, and not just you can be the big C captain, but that doesn't mean you're a leader. There's a lot of other nuances to be a good leader and be an effective leader. So that really, he kind of helped a bunch of guys out and talked to the team about, which I thought was really beneficial, I think. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's plenty of sports that are team sports that you rely on more than one person. But some sports more than others, an individual can take over a game. Basketball, for instance, is a team sport, but a single guy can take over a game. Football is unique, where you really can't be successful if one person isn't doing their job, or if you're not all working together and pulling in the same direction, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think like you like watch an NFL game. Like for instance, my roommate's a Chargers fan. Like you see Justin Herbert, and he has these ridiculous numbers every week. I mean, he had that bad week versus New England, but you have these ridiculous numbers, but they lose games. And it's cool that you have those numbers, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're not going to make the playoffs. So it just goes to show, I mean, one guy can change the whole outcome of the Florida game. The guy threw the shoe like that, lost the game. There's incredible performances from all these guys. But at the end of the day, if all 11 aren't on the right page, then it doesn't really matter. You can be spectacular in a performance, but yeah, that's what I feel like that's what the beauty of football is too, though. It takes 11 guys at a time to be perfect to win, which is awesome, I think.
I saw a headline from that Florida game was the agony of Decleat. I had never, just when you think, I've learned enough now to never say I've seen it all, but you start to think like, well, you've imagined it all. I never, in that situation, I don't know what crossed that guy's mind that was a good idea. Have you ever seen anything like that before in a game?
You're so right when you say like, that I think what goes through what went through my head was like, I was like, did that just happen? Like, that's really a thing as a guy would do something like that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what was going through his head. Poor guy. I know he's probably feeling pretty bad, but yeah, I mean, I've never seen that. I don't think the rest of America has seen that either when it comes to football.
I thought initially that it was like a hand warmer, because you'll see guys like chuck a towel or gloves and that were their own. You'll see quarterbacks do that. I've seen Brady do that. He's got the hand warmer. He got sacked and it's all screwed up, and he just chucks it behind the offense.
Yeah.
But for a guy to chuck an opponent's something like that, especially in that situation, you just got to stop. 4th down. You're going to get the ball back. Crazy. We had a lot of discussion today about the weather because of the snow and everything. And I've asked this question to some of our football guys before, but for you, what's ideal football weather?
So for me, it's different because I lived in a bunch of different places, but I'm from North Carolina. I played high school football in North Carolina. So for me, perfect weather, I mean, I like it hot. Like I like it 80, sunny, beaten down. I kind of like the heat. I know most guys like it like a 50, 60 degree day, clear day, like a fall, Massachusetts day. But I like it hot. I just like it hot out. I mean, granted, I'm a quarterback. Well, I was a quarterback, so I didn't really I wasn't out there like.
You weren't running 60 yards down the field. You were throwing it 60 yards. Hey, come on, man. How can you not get under that ball? Dude, I'm running 60 yards in the heat. Come on, give me a break.
Huddle with a bunch of offensive linemen, and it's 75 or it's 95 degrees out. Yeah, I liked it hot, but a lot of guys like it cool. See, it's crazy. You were talking about the windshield wipers. I didn't do that, so I don't really like the cold. I'm not a cold weather guy. I got small hands. But a lot of people love playing football in the cold, and I can't. I mean, that's tough for me. It's tough. It's a tough outing.
Now, what's the worst weather that you've ever played in? And it could be high school, could be college. Worst weather you've ever played in?
So, when I was a senior in high school, we played this game, and it was 40 degrees out. And I remember the team being like, we're going to die of hypothermia. And then I come up here. We played the ECAC Bowl against Husson in 2016 when they had John Smith and Ellis Throckmorton and that big linebacker. So that game was cold. But then I played in the Nor'easter 2 years ago at UNE, and I was the holder, and it was terrible. Zan Carter, great guy, love that guy, can spin it. And I just remember him just spinning him back there, and Andy Veer, I was like, dude, you got to give me a second, man, because I can't do this. My little hands, this is tough. And I fumbled the snap, but that was the worst weather. I remember just being sitting on the sideline being I really hope we don't score because I can't go catch a PhD. I would just go for 2. But, yeah, that was probably the worst. The Nor'easter 2 years ago. I think it was the first – that Nor'easter game. Yeah, that was by far the worst weather. Terrible.
Is that being part of a special teams operation must be the one group where you want always perfect conditions, right? Other guys can be oh, it's snowing, cool, or it's muddy, hey, it'll be fun, we'll slide around. If you're the holder, a snapper, a kicker, being oh, God, this is our worst nightmare.
Yeah, I think we played Endicott that same year, and it was freezing cold. And we came down to we were going in after Brendan Nunes caught that fade route on 4th and whatever. I think it was like 4th and 1, and Coach Gill called the fade, and we went down to kick a field goal. And if we hit that field goal, the pretty much game was over. But if we didn't, like, they still had some chance. I think they had like a couple minutes in change. They had like a couple minutes left or a minute left. And I remember like thinking like, this is the most pressure I've ever felt in a football game. And I'm just holding, and it was just cold in my hands. And I was just like, oh, dude. But yeah, being a part of that whole operation, I can't imagine what it's like to hold for a NFL team or anything like that. Yeah, perfect conditions would be good on that one for sure.
Yeah. Last question,
brutal.
Max. You could go as far back as you want. You go back to being 2 years old if you want. But what's one of your biggest snow day memories? Anything that sticks out to you about being in the
snow day memory? Yes, I was my senior year of high school. We had this big snow week in North Carolina, and I think it was like we had like 2 inches or 3 inches on the ground, and we got school canceled for like a week. It was like a Wednesday to a Tuesday. We got it canceled. North Carolina was like in shambles. So that was probably, and I was a senior in high school, so all my friends like came over and we like hung out all week and didn't have school. So that was probably my favorite snow moment. I'm not a big snow guy, but I like skiing too, so those moments are cool. But yeah, that week in high school was pretty fun.
Then you come up here and it's 20 degrees and there's like 6 inches of snow and you're still walking to class and you're like, what is this?
Yeah. People are still like out and about, like running their businesses. North Carolina would declare a state of emergency.
Got to go get your iced coffee, right, in the blizzard.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
Right. Hey, Max, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah.
Glad we could have you fill in here today. Awesome to see you. Glad you're doing well. Hope you have a healthy, happy, and safe holiday.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
All right. Take it easy. That's Max Yates from our football team. We're going next to the head coach of our women's volleyball team, Sebastian Nordzi, joining us once again on the program. Sebas, how are we doing?
Doing well, Paz. How are you?
Good. Hunkered down?
Absolutely. I got my hot chocolate right next to me. I'm all set.
Give us whatever updates you can. I know you're going through a lot of process, the recruiting thing, also I know you've been working on a plan, kind of not an off-season plan, but the bridge plan here between what could potentially be a spring season for your sport. How is all of that going right now for your team?
Yeah, so it's been going. It's definitely been a little bit quieter, which is very nice because I got plenty of time outside to shovel the snow. It's been a little bit quieter. I have been able to get stuff done in terms of focusing towards the springtime. And knock on wood, that still looks like it's going to be a thing that's happening, which is awesome. So that's been in place, and just, continuing to keep busy throughout this whole entire little Christmas break that we have.
We're talking a lot about the weather today, and your sport is an indoor sport. Not the only way the weather affects it is in the travel element, but we have talked before about beach volleyball. This is just kind of me asking without even knowing, and not even if you know. But what are the rules for like the weather restrictions around that? Like, can you play beach volleyball in the rain? Is there a wind element where they say, oh, it says it's 10, can't play in these winds? How much variance can you get playing beach volleyball?
Yeah, so I think it depends on where you are in the world. A lot of beach volleyball is played in Southern California, where right now I'm assuming it's 75 and sunny because that's what it seems like all the time over there. So obviously there you play whenever you can. If it gets to be a little bit chilly, you throw on some socks, you throw on a sweatshirt, sweatpants, and you still go out and play. Other places, like I've been to volleyball tournaments in Texas in beach volleyball, and sometimes it gets a little bit rainy or whatever over there. And I believe there's a rule that says, much like our other outdoor sports, where if there's lightning within X amount of miles, we're just going to postpone things, wait till it clears up. But then you get to other parts of the world, like a lot of European countries like Italy and parts of Russia, they're playing snow volleyball, which is, I believe, 3-on-3 volleyball, where you wear cleats, you wear your jackets, and you're bundled up and everything, and you play volleyball in cleats, gloves, sweatpants, and there's a lot of really great videos on YouTube about snow volleyball, and it's so interesting to watch too.
I'm trying to find this right now because I'm just amazed. Let me see if we can pull this in right now. We'll effort this in. This is the final. This is USA versus Russia in some sort of volleyball final. This is unbelievable.
Yeah,
This
so
is like a little, again, we've had these instances, we were talking to Coach Walsh yesterday. She got to play soccer in a snowstorm up at Keene. This is probably something as a kid you like dream about, like, oh, playing volleyball in the snow, and now, hey, I guess they do it now.
and the fun part of those three in the blue from the American side, one's from Southern California, and the other two are from Hawaii. So how do they end up playing snow volleyball against a bunch of Russians? I don't know, but they're actually extremely good at it.
It's like the Jamaican bobsled team, right?
Exactly.
It's that same thing. Oh, this is now. It looks like, are they playing with like a different kind of ball? Obviously, the design's different, but is there a different type of ball that's used in outdoor volleyball, or maybe even this?
Yeah, so definitely in beach and indoor volleyball, there's two different types of balls. The outdoor ball is definitely made to withstand the weather a little bit more. It's a little more waterproof, whereas the indoor ball is more of like the leathery feel. This snow volleyball, I have never touched it before, but I can only imagine that it feels more like the sand volleyball with a little bit more water resistance to it, because I can't imagine if it gets soaked with snow all over it and then trying to serve it, it'll be like serving a medicine ball and their shoulders will be falling off the whole time.
Oh my God, Joey, producer Joey Morelli points out, what is snow really but sand that melts? Which is, I guess, valid.
That's deep.
That's
deep.
deep, very deep, very philosophical. Oh my gosh, this is now. We also brought up yesterday this Netflix series that I found called, I think it's called The Home Games, and it's about different sports that are played all around the world. Now, some things should be variants like this. Oh, snow volleyball. Others are just different types of wrestling or traditional games that you would have never heard of before. I'm just impressed. I'm just impressed to keep finding new things. This is great.
And that's one of the reasons why I love volleyball so much, is because there's so many different ways to play it. We've talked about indoor, we've talked about sand, we've talked about snow, we've talked about grass. All of those ways you can have anywhere between 2 and 9 people on the court. So it just makes for a whole variance of different types of volleyball with all their different strategies and whole crazy messes. I'm happy to stick with 6-on-6 indoor coaching. I can't imagine trying to coach 3-on-3 snow volleyball in a jacket and a scarf the whole entire time.
Now, is it like tennis? Do you also play volleyball on the clay in places?
I'm sure they do. I've never seen it.
Somewhere
I don't
in
think,
France, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, somewhere where the only space they have for volleyball is probably clay, but I couldn't imagine that either. Just trying to move around and slipping and sliding all over the place.
Now, I've seen at the beaches they've set up the thing where it's got like 2 nets crisscross, and it's like everybody. It's almost like Foursquare, but with a volleyball net. Is that what is that? Because I've seen it, but I've never actually found out what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, so I've seen that too. I think it's a game called CrossNet, where it's very similar to volleyball, where you can pass set spike to yourself, but you have the strategy of Foursquare. So that always looks interesting. It hasn't taken off like an actual sanctioned sport around the world. It's more like a beach game between friends or in the backyard. But that looks like so much fun, and I'm definitely going to try it at least one day with my volleyball friends.
Yeah, give it 10 years, they'll be playing it in the snow for like a world championship.
Absolutely, and I'll be tuned in.
Sebastian, what are some of your favorite snow day memories? You can go as far back as you want.
I think just waking up and watching the news to see that little ticker scroll down the bottom of your TV and looking for your school to have a snow day. It would be like high school XYZ snow day, and you just wake up all energetic. You'd either go outside and play in the snow or grab a hot chocolate and relax inside, maybe take a nap or something. But just that excitement of seeing that is just so magical. I wish kids nowadays had that feeling, because right now they just get blasted with a text or an email or a phone call, and they know if they have school or not. Whereas we had to wait until 70 other high schools
Yep.
had their announcements, and then you're like, oh, that stinks. That school has classes today. That school is near me, so maybe I don't have school. And that buildup was awesome for me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think too of back. I mean, I guess this is a statement I've never used. I'm old enough to remember when you wanted to know what was coming on TV, you watched the TV Guide channel. And you're like, oh, crap, we just missed Disney Channel. We got to let it go all the way around again and find out what's coming up.
where they had that little booklet where you would look at it and be like, oh, well,
Yes.
tomorrow we have this.
The physical guide, the TV guide.
We're dating ourselves right now.
Big time. There's kids listening. Our producers right now are like, "What are they talking about?" Last question. I'm not sure if I had already asked this of you, but we won't be able to talk to you next weekend or next week because we'll be off for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But what are some of your favorite? What would you say if you could pick 5 at a maximum? Favorite Christmas movies?
Favorite Christmas movies. I love Elf. Elf's a great comedy. The Grinch, I watched that recently. The one with, I believe it's Jim Carrey in it. That movie is phenomenal. Those are the 2 that go off the top of my head. There's plenty more. They've been consumed so often, so I can't really recall too many of them. Die Hard. Die Hard's a great Christmas movie.
Yep, totally agree. Totally agree. Awesome. Sebastian, thanks so much. Always appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, we won't get to catch up with you next week, so hope you have Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and yeah, we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks from now.
Awesome. And yeah, Pez, absolutely you too. Happy holidays, and I hope you have a great, relaxing break.
Thank you, sir. Take it easy now. All right, that's Sebastian Nordsey, the head coach of our women's volleyball team. We're going to go finally to coach of our men's soccer team, Craig O'Rourke II. Craig, how are we doing?
Hey, what's up?
So, like I said, each week we've been checking in with you here on the Arsenal front. Most recent result is a 1-1 draw with Southampton, which I guess in the context of this season, moral victory, or is Arsenal above moral victories?
Granted, it's not a typical American sport, but a 1-1 scoreline is not a victory. A 1-1 scoreline is a draw. So you can call it a moral draw. My philosophy on moral victories is you stick to your morals and you are victorious. So a 1-1 draw might be a moral draw, but it's not a moral victory. I'm not a big fan of losing a match, never saying it's a moral victory, or tying a match and calling it a moral victory. I think that's very much a misnomer. I would never tell my team that a 1-1 draw with any side was a moral victory for us, because in essence, it's not a victory. It's a failure to secure the 3 points. You can play well. You can take things away from any performance, but the result is in essence still a draw. And I think that's a lot of times what American coaches fail to recognize is the difference between the result and the performance. The result is a draw. It might be a moral performance where you played well under certain circumstances, but you can never assign the word victory unless it is just that, a victory. The 1-1 draw in some ways typifies our season. The big statistic that a lot of the commentators around the EPL are quoting is that since Mikel Arteta took over Arsenal back on December 26, 2019, Arsenal leads the league in a very unfortunate statistic, that being red cards. They have 7 red cards. The next closest teams have 3. So I right now I question the discipline, not so much of Arteta, but of the entire club.
Is that frustration?
Yeah, I some of the cards individually are frustration. The most recent red card, Gabrielle, the card that the code that a professional referee would use in assigning that red card is 2CT, meaning second caution. Very different than the red card Xhaka got or Pepe got. Xhaka's red card was VC, violent conduct. That's a straight red, whereas Gabrielle's red was accumulation of second yellow, which then requires the red card to be shown. Unfortunately, I believe under EPL rules, they both carry a 3-game suspension. And what sucks is that I think Gabrielle, frankly, is our best performing center back right now. Arsenal right now is a big club without a big club identity. They are playing poorly. There's really no 2 ways about it. I think a lot of the players individually think they are better than they are. I talked to a number of our alumni as well as our current players who are fellow Arsenal supporters, and we went through the roster, and there's only a handful of players, frankly, that we would keep. A lot of them we would, sell or let walk on a free and not even try to recoup any value. Arsenal really needs to transition the roster, transition the club culture. Yeah, I mean, putting us, we are where we are. We're 15th, and we're 15th because that's the points we've earned. it's of the quote unquote big six clubs. We are so far down the table, frankly, right there. The next closest big six is Man City. And what do they have? 1 or 2 games in hand on us. I mean, it's just, Man U's leading. Shit. Yeah, it's just not good. It's not good for Arsenal right now. The word relegation is not one I'm willing to discuss because I don't think.
I don't think it will happen either. If it does happen, that would be. It boggle the mind. I can't fathom it.
Just pan down the table if you would while we're on here, and you have to look at it in the context of the league and Brighton, Burnley, Fulham, West Brom, all those are much Sheffield, who has 1 point. Most people are already sentencing them to relegation
because it would require those teams to win more than you the rest of the way, because you already are ahead. I don't know.
We're 3 points over Brighton, our next closest competitor. I don't think we'll be relegated. It's just that for a club like Arsenal that has aspirations for trophies and places in Europe, in order to qualify for Europe, you got to be top 5, 4 for the Champions League, 5th for the Europa League, and then hope that, domestic cup winners are in the top 4 spots so that additional spots pop up for 6th and 7th place in Europa League. But, I don't see us winning anything right now, to be honest. And what's unfortunate is that we are the only team currently in the Europa League who went through group stage play undefeated. And I attribute that more to the group that we were in, the caliber of competition we played in that group, to our individual performances or our individual talent level. It's not a good time at the Arsenal Football Club. It's not a good time to call oneself an Arsenal supporter.
You mentioned the red cards thing. We talked about that being somehow related to frustration. For your team, and I had this discussion with Eric Sorella, our baseball coach, about a pitcher maybe throwing at a guy because one of your own got thrown at. When you look at your team and say the amount of yellows you see, or a red card maybe is an extreme you wouldn't want to see. How do you toe the line between wanting to see your team, say, respond physically to a challenge or get more physical with an opponent, but not be reckless and out of control? It's one of those things where you want to see a certain amount of yellows throughout a season, but not something egregious, or would you rather never see yellows at all?
I'd rather never see yellows. The flashing of the card, the showing of the caution in the sport of soccer, at the very least, because there are other sports that do use a card system. Typically, a team in defending will be shown the yellow card for an egregious tackle. The most common reason for the yellow card historically throughout the professional ranks is the code called UB, which stands for unsporting behavior, which is typically the catch-all code for fouls during the run of play. But again, you're usually committing the foul when you are the team that is defending, meaning that you are the team without the ball. I would train my team and hope that my team has the ball statistically far more than any opponent on our schedule. And as such, if you have the ball more, you're not committing those types of fouls that would then warrant the showing of the yellow card. Over the last 10 years, I would guess, and it's an educated guess because I do track the statistic as a metric for measuring our team's success, that Salve Regina men's soccer is either at the bottom or next to the bottom in terms of yellow cards accumulated over the last 10 years. We are usually one of the most infrequently carded teams in the Commonwealth Coast Conference. And again, I attribute that to the fact that our style of play, with how much we like to have the ball, keep the ball, and the amount of possession that we're able to manifest over 90 minutes and then subsequently over the course of the season, doesn't lead to us committing a lot of those types of egregious fouls that would require a caution to be shown. So no, I think culturally there's a great deal of difference between baseball and soccer. In baseball, they may need that for a pitcher to come high and hard inside to, brush a batter back from the plate or to send a message to an opponent. In soccer, I always tell my guys the best way to send a message is to stick the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
If we're up 1-0 and then we can go up 2-0 and 3-0 and 4-0, that sends a clear-cut message, and you'll see the body language of your opponent subsequently change when the scoreline does get to 2-3, 4-0, as we've seen over the last couple of years. And the fact that it's not a case of running up the score. In soccer, there really is no such thing as running up a score. In soccer, the greatest disrespect you can show a team is to have the ball in a clear-cut goal-scoring chance and not take that chance. That, frankly, is arguably the single most insulting. To have a striker pull out and then play negative towards one's own goal, I would take as far, far more insulting than a striker seizing their opportunity and putting a shot on frame. Because then again, soccer has a dedicated position in the goalkeeper whose job it is to then face that shot and prevent the ball from matriculating across the goal line between the posts and beneath the crossbar. Definition of method of scoring from the laws of the game. So no, I'm not one to ever think that my team needs to accumulate yellow cards. The National Coaches Group actually has the Team Ethics Award, which is awarded based upon number of cards accumulated versus number of games played. And we've come so close twice in my 14 years to earning the award. And one year we would have gotten it. We only got 9 yellows back under the old standards when you had to get single digits, 10 or you had to get 10 or less cards over the course of the season, regardless of the number of games played. And that's the old standard. The new standard now, they do it as a ratio versus number of games played, recognizing that some teams don't play as many games as others. But under the old standard, we had 9 yellows, but one of the caveats was you could not earn a red card. And we had one player in one game at MIT. Love the kid to death. I'm actually going to his wedding, Sean McAllister. And he got a red for violent conduct because the referee thought that he intentionally threw an elbow or headbutt or something. And so we had 9 yellows and 1 red on the season, and that prevented us from getting the Team Ethics Award that year, which is still the only award I think my team hasn't earned in my 14 years. So no, I am never one that believes that a team needs to earn cards in any situation or measure. You play tough. You defend as a unit. You defend as a team. 1v1 defending. You can be physical. You can get into your challenges, get into your tackles. But no, there's a way to play the game, play defensively without needing to ever do anything that warrants unsporting behavior or persistent infringement or any of the things that would result in a yellow card being shown.
You mentioned there the rules of the game, like the pillars of soccer, carried on stone off the mountaintop, the rules of the game. The game has not changed. The game has not changed tremendously much, I imagine, within that framework. But have there been any changes to soccer? Are there any changes to the game that you would like to see that you think would be beneficial to the game? Or is the game perfect?
The game's not perfect, and the beauty about soccer is as soon as you think you've figured it out, it evolves. Going back to the EPL, it was long believed that only the Big Six could win the league because they were the only ones that had the spending power. In American sports, you have salary caps in baseball or football or basketball, where the league has to administer it in such a way that they seek parity through limiting the spending of the individual clubs. In soccer, you do not have that in the global game. Soccer is typically the rich get richer. You'll find that Barcelona and Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain, and unfortunately, the evil empire known as Manchester United are the ultimate top feeders. Those 5 clubs will buy the best players on the planet and create their own world all-star teams, and there is no one to tell them otherwise. FIFA has tried to institute fair play standards, but quite frankly, Chelsea just recently got whacked with that because they were buying up anyone and everyone in the youth ranks to then develop them within their own systems. But that's Chelsea for you, typical. So no, the rich get richer in world football, and the Big Six were thought to only be the ones who could ever compete and win the league up until a few years ago. Leicester City did it by frankly forcing the game at the highest level, the professional ranks in the EPL, which is widely regarded as the best league on the planet, to evolve to a new standard and a new style. And that was a sitting in counterattacking method where they would absorb the pressure, absorb all the possession of their opponents, and then hit them quickly on the break. And the game as such was forced to evolve and respond to that. You could not dominate the possession. It's interesting because Leicester City winning the league that year, the club that finished second is one I know very well because I support them, was Arsenal. And in that evolution of the game that year, it was the last time Arsenal was that high up the table. We finished second. And then we subsequently started to slip down to 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th. and now, God help, 15th. So no, the game evolves. Soccer is not perfect. The 17 laws of the game that govern the sport, my God, they were first introduced back in the 1800s. There have been tweaks and caveat to them, not by FIFA, by what's known as the IFAB, the International Football Association Board. That is the governing body under FIFA that looks at the laws of the game. The laws of the game are tweaked to a degree every year. The last big rule change that really forced an evolution to the game was the pass back rule. It used to be that during the course of the 90 minutes, a team in possession could play back to their own keeper, and their keeper was allowed to pick it up. And that was allowed to kill a lot of time. If you got the 1-0 lead, you gain the ball, you dribble negative, and you put a 30-yard chip back to your keeper's hands. He takes it off his chest, and he's sitting there until someone comes and pressures him. Then he picks it up. You could waste 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 seconds of the 90-minute match by doing that. And then it was my senior year of high school. God, there's a long time ago, that the IFAB passed the law banning that. They called it the pass back rule. And the keeper was no longer allowed to use his hands in any manner when his own team deliberately passed the ball, or as the rule was written, deliberately kicked the ball as such foot or knee or anything like that. You could chest it, you could head it back, but you could not, in a kicking motion, propel the ball back to your keeper. And that forced the game to evolve, and it forced the position of goalkeeper to become much more proficient with their feet. Since then, there have been minor rule changes. We just had, the kickoff doesn't have to be played forward now. It can be played negatively immediately. The one that I have yet to implement in my own coaching style are the new wall rules, the wall buster. It used to be that the attacking team in the kickoff or in the kick of the taking of the free kick could put an offensive wall into the defensive wall. You could put a 2-3 man wall into the defensive wall and then have guys drop away as the kick was taken or try to impede the vision of the goalkeeper. FIFA has now passed a law where if the wall is 3 players or more, the defensive wall, no attacking player can be within 1 yard of the wall upon the establishment of the wall. So you're no longer to put the wall busters into the wall. And again, because of COVID and our season being canceled, I have yet to actually see that implemented in the college game. So that'll be different. The one that, as a former pro ref, it's difficult to see this rule change, but the goal kick, and I believe by extension the taking of any free kick inside the penalty box, had to leave the penalty box before being considered in play. At the last World Cup, you saw prior to the Cup, FIFA changed that rule, and now the goal kick, upon the ball showing any motion, regardless of direction, regardless if it leaves the box, but upon the ball showing motion, it's considered to be in play, meaning the kick no longer has to leave the box before it's considered being back in play. That's a difficult rule change for me to see.
It could move an inch. And it's
exactly, and then
a micrometer.
The opponent's allowed to rush in and immediately defend it, and play for the tackle, and that's a difficult rule change for me to see, simply because as a former ref, I used to know it and enforce it and make teams retake their goal kicks if the ball hadn't left the box. But now the kick is immediately in play. So FIFA's always tweaking. FIFA's always looking at things, or I should say the IFAB, to make the game evolve, not just evolve for the sake of evolution, but evolve for the sake of being better. Soccer historically is a low-scoring sport. It has now really very much achieved the full global audience. It has broken down the walls within the U.S. that were once up when I was in my youth. MLS is now flourishing. American players are overseas. You see Christian Pulisic from the men's national team flourishing at Chelsea at the highest level. There are a number of American players playing throughout and across Europe as well as on other continents. Soccer is the global game. Maybe someday in this country we'll stop referring to it as soccer and start calling it football, like the other 180 countries on the planet.
But CCC Commissioner Greg Kay, he's on page with you. Man knows his football. Talking about you. So,
always nice when the commissioner calls it football. So it's nice having Davies on roster because being born in London and having grown up outside the country, he always refers to it as the footy.
He helps educate the lads.
Yeah, he helps educate the roster. He's good, despite being a Chelsea supporter.
Last question for you, Craig, and then I'll let you go. any favorite snow day memories? Go as far back as you want, but any snow day memories that stick out to you?
Snow day memories, like when I had to get the day off from school, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, being a kid, anything, did you, sit there watching the TV or, listening to the radio to
No,
find out if school was canceled, that sort of, any of that sort of stuff. What you
I,
would do on a snow day?
I grew up in the sticks. I grew up in Richmond, Rhode Island, which had a whopping population of like 3,200 during my youth. So, and I didn't have cable TV throughout the course of my youth. So I was very much an outdoor kid. And when we had a snow day, I was outside either building a snow fort or having snowball fights or building a snowman or sledding. And frankly, sledding was something I always enjoyed. I always liked going fast, insert your own Talladega Nights comment in there. But yeah, I enjoyed sledding. We had this big, large hill, not more than a quarter mile from my house that I would take out the old, what the heck was that sled called? The Radio Flyer or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, those actually having the runners on the bottom, and it was interesting because I always thought that was going to allow me to go fast, but no, the kids that had the discs, just a big piece of molded plastic under their butts, they were the ones that were flying down the hill, whereas mine would immediately sink in under my body weight if it was new fallen snow, and I wouldn't go more than a foot before I'm going to dig my sled out. No, I enjoyed sledding and I enjoyed outdoor stuff, so those are my fondest memories from snow days, and I just had my son outside with me shoveling the driveway as the case may be. We got about probably 12 inches here in East Providence. What'd you get in Narragansett? You coastal communities, you?
We got about 7 inches. A lot, and for me, right where I am is right on the water, so the wind actually blows a lot of it off the road and out of. I have a field in front of my apartment. It's basically green. Well, all the snow is pushed up against the building, so had to wedge open the front door this morning.
Shucks. You had to wedge it open and watch someone else, plow and dig your driveway and walkways.
That's why I pay rent. If when I'm a homeowner, I know I got to do those things myself. For now, yeah, I'll let the landlord come do it. Why not?
Yeah, that's nice. How nice of you, Pez. You're such a great tenant to allow the landlord to fulfill their duties of your lease agreement.
You know all about it. Hey, see, we got onto real estate anyways, even though I know you were only joking. Well, Craig,
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. We will speak to you next Wednesday ahead of Christmas.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
On Thursday at 3:30. Thursdays at 3:30. I think actually this is my last one of the year. So, hey, to all the listeners and viewers out there in Seahawk land, it's been a pleasure. I will look forward to speaking to all of you in 2021. Enjoy the time. Happy holidays. Family is first. Family, the most important thing. Pez, always best to you and the Bazzelli clan. The Feast of Seven Fishes is in your future, I'm sure.
El Sete Pesce is coming. So
see ya.
That is Craig O'Rourke II, the head coach of our men's soccer team. We'll still try and talk to him next week. We'll see. We'll see for now. Anyways, we're going to take a very quick break and be back with the producers to wrap up today's show. Don't go anywhere.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
You have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You gotta take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. I want to bring back in the producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to help wrap up today's programming. And just real quick, I did take a peek at the schedule, at the weeks ahead. And so, Craig, yeah, we'll be generous. We'll give you the day off next week. So we will not speak to Craig on Wednesday. He'll be able to enjoy Wednesday and Christmas Eve and the entire Christmas weekend. But we want to send 2020 out the right way, so we will be speaking to Craig on New Year's Eve. So we can look forward to his appearance then.
Yeah.
So just wanted
He
to
does.
clear that up.
He does give his heart and soul every time he's on here. So if it,
That's true.
I
We
guess
can only
give
ask
him.
so much.
Yeah.
We can only
I was
ask so
surprised.
much. We gotta let him recharge.
With everything he knows, I thought he was going to know the exact amount of yellow cards or red cards they've ever gotten. Like,
I'm sure if I
team.
pressed him on it, he could. I mean, he
Do
maybe
the
would have
math.
closed his eyes, and we would have seen some sort of zen moment of reflecting back and in his mind going through the filing cabinets, like in what is it, Dreamcatcher? The Stephen King book, how you have your mind palace or whatever it is, where you keep all your information.
Yeah, your mind palace.
Something like that.
I haven't thought about that movie in a while.
So running the gambit. What else do you fellas have here to help us
Encino
close out
Man
the
reference
program?
earlier.
Yeah.
All old movies today.
Yeah, that was so. One of my takeaways actually from the show was that show Home Game you were talking about. So I found it on Netflix. I wanted to go over these episodes because this seems like a really cool show actually that I think you should probably other people should check out. Here's just some of the episodes here, and look at this first one. I don't even know what this is.
That might be
what
the
they're
thing I'm talking about.
Is that it, Joey?
No, the Highland Games. That kind of looks like the thing I thought hurling was.
Yep.
It looks like he's
Episode
spinning
2.
around. It looks like he's spinning around with like a ball stick thing. That might be. I might have seen a clip from that.
I believe, that might be it, Joey, because he's got the kilt on and everything. It looks like
Yeah.
traditional Scottish game.
That
Scotland
looks like
game.
the guy that I saw.
Well, that's episode 2.
Oh,
So, and then
Ooh, what's
some of
that
these,
horse thing?
this one, this last one, this final one here looks dangerous.
Oh god, these look. That middle
It's
one
intense.
though.
It's a great
Yeah.
show. It's an awesome show.
Cool.
Yeah, that looks
Combo
phenomenal.
wrestling,
So.
that is probably cool. Voodoo.
Yeah, definitely being snowed in this weekend. Good time to watch some Netflix. So definitely catch up on these shows. Right,
Yeah,
good recommendation.
The one Catch Fetiche, which is in the Congo, is a mix between like voodoo and wrestling. Oh, it's so cool.
I don't even understand what that means.
Interesting.
I'm just gonna watch it.
You're not only
and
wrestling someone else.
And they're short too. I mean, 31 minutes, 26 minutes. So it's not
Yeah,
like
that's not bad.
It's not like, I mean, and granted, I would watch 2 hours on some of these.
Oh, absolutely.
But these are quick. They're goodies. You can binge this in one night if you really want
Definitely.
to. So, cool. Anything else from you fellas here to close out the program?
I don't have it pulled up, but I was going to mention it yesterday. I believe it's still going today. Newport Film had a second movie this week. It was I can't remember the name of it, but it was super weird. It's something about LSD in the 70s and like some guy who, I don't know, it was a whole bunch of people I'd never heard of, but it seemed interesting. It was about like, I guess, some guy who either like sold or did something with a lot of LSD, and then he fell in love with this girl, and she might have been a double agent for the CIA to arrest him or something. I don't know. It sounds wild.
Is this nonfiction
Is this true?
or is this
No,
Yeah.
this is allegedly happened. This is like something in the 70s. I had never heard of it. I don't recognize any of these names. If you go on newportfilm.com, it's on there. It's called like My LSD something or other. It's got a funny name. It was yesterday and today. Newport Film. It's free again. Check it out.
doing that
Yeah,
after the show.
It seemed wild. I don't know. It was like they fell in love, and it was like a Romeo and Juliet situation, and he like she convinced him to become a narc, I guess, is like what happened. Wow. And I think the like movie, like I think that what they're doing is they're trying to figure out in the documentary, like, was she working for the CIA? Was that just how she was? Like, how this happened?
You know, now that you're saying, I feel like I have seen a preview or something. It's ringing some bells. Somewhere in my mind palace, bells and whistles are going off. So, anyway, fellas, great work here today. Enjoy it as always, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow to round out the week.
Yep. Enjoy the snow, everybody.
All right, that is Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. Once again, we're live every single day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Saturday Athletics Network. You can like, follow, and subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter to never miss an episode. Go back and watch any past episode of the program, and you can also subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcast from to take Seahawk Talk on the go. That'll do it for us here today. Big thanks to our guests. We had Max Yates, Sebastian Norzi, and Craig O'Rourke II. Big thanks to them. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. Have a good night, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow.